Yo, internet, how's it going? Capcom finally comes, all these Dr. Seiken Toto pretty much tweeted out and said, yes, Resident Evil 7, it is in development, and that is planning on to go back to its horror roots, and it will be announced at this year at E3. And there's something that I've kind of been saying ever since I've been talking about Resident Evil, like, on my channel for a good while now. I think if you check most of my Resident Evil videos, I say this, but Resident Evil 6, which could probably be the biggest hitter in the Resident Evil series, even if you do look at Resident Evil Revelations and Revelations 2, those two games, Revelations 1 actually did kind of have like a very horror feel to it, and Revelations 2 didn't necessarily have it as much, probably because it was built around the whole thing of you going to this island at two different times, once in the future and once in the past. And even if like you did finish the game, it felt really short. So, but it was actually really fulfilling. But there was a thing that I would love to talk about in Resident Evil 6 though, since that's like the main crux of like the whole Resident Evil feels of them saying that the game doesn't feel like a horror game anymore. And I've said this plenty of times, but Resident Evil 6, a lot of what it had, it felt rushed, fast, and it didn't seem as though as that they had actually built upon these areas to actually make them feel scary. It's just that you were just in an area and you got attacked. That's pretty much what happened. And things moved really fast, and it wasn't like how the first Resident Evils were, where like you did have to worry about the atmosphere, worry about the area you were in, worry about, say, you wanted to find out what actually happened in this area. Even the C virus, a brand new virus in Resident Evil 6, they did kind of glance over that really fast. You really didn't have time to sort of soak it in and understand like what it was, how it affected people, and how far it had stretched. If anything, I believe that this one, because I did use the T-Virus again in 6, that one was the only one to actually kind of go out and actually affect a massive town in a very wide, in a widespread area. Even though the first Resident Evil said that the first outbreaks of the T-Virus slowly kind of spread out and actually affected areas, going through animals and such. Same thing with the G-Virus. So that is something to take into consideration. But honestly, the more that I really think about it, I'm like, the original Resident Evils, the 3 Resident Evil games, the thing that actually gave those games the horror feel it had was mostly the controls, or at least going back from Resident Evil, the first Resident Evil remake. That one is a very scary game because anything below the shotgun is a useless weapon, and it will make the game harder for you. If they ever create Resident Evil 2, or at least if they ever remake Resident Evil 2, yeah, that one was still a puzzle game, but still, the Nemesis, or at least like Mr. X going around chasing you, that was a scary thing, even though you did have to reach him like in the second playthrough. And like for like the B scenario of the game, even in the A scenario with you having to deal with William Birkin, that one was still scary. So even going back into Resident Evil 3 of you dealing with the tyrant, Resident Evil Code Veronica of you dealing with tyrants and having to get through all these areas with all these gigantic enemies. Resident Evil 4, the turning point never really had that problem, but Resident Evil 4 still gave you enough enemy variety to where that whatever you were dealing with, it felt like a pain. Resident Evil 5, not so much, but then again, that game was supposed to be very different, but of course, people called the race card on that, so they kind of had to change some things. And it did, and I believe it did hurt the game in the long run. Resident Evil 6, the QuickTime events killed that fucking game. If it wasn't for the QuickTime events, it probably could have got a better score, and if they would have took their time and actually placed it like in 3 separate areas, the game would have been actually better for it, you know. But till then though, hopefully Resident Evil 7, it does actually come out and it does actually provide you with enough to where that it doesn't feel like a terrible game, it doesn't feel like a bad game, but I'll see you next time on the next Jongravesshow Show. Tell me what you think about this down there. I'll see you next time. I'm out. Hey internet, how's it going? I'm Batman, and I'm here to tell everybody to go ahead and check out this little book right here. It's called Ibarra. It's by my friend Deshaun R. Smith, and my book is in the back. My book is called Noir Prophecy, along with our crazy little collaboration book, Mizuki Dragon Warriors. And you can read the first introduction, or like you can read the introduction, the first few pages of it, and go ahead and check it out and show us some support and love. I'll leave a link down there in the description for it. Also, if you like this video, please go ahead and click over there and go ahead and click on the link. It'll take you right to my last video. I'll see you next time on the next Jongravesshow. Please keep watching anime, keep playing video games, and remember, I'm Batman.